after the Chet Egel, when Moshe Rabbeinu petitions Hashem to forgive the Jewish people, the pasuk begins, Vayashav Moshe Hashem Vayomer Ana Chata Amazeh Chata Gedola. This nation has sinned a very great sin. Vayasulem Elohei Zahav, and they made a golden god. Interesting enough, Rashi learns that this is not a petition in the normal sense of Moshe Rabbeinu asking forgiveness, nor is Moshe Rabbeinu saying that the Jewish people have sinned. Quite the opposite. Rashi brings down that Moshe Rabbeinu, if it could be, is accusing Hashem. He's saying, Ata Garamta, Hashem, you caused this. Why? Shishpatelem Zahav, you gave them gold. V'chol cheftzam, and all that their desires, Mayase ben v'lo yechta. What should the young man do other than sin? When the pasuk says, Elohei Zahav, they made gods of gold. Hashem, it's your fault because you gave them the gold. And then Rashi explains Mashal. He says, Mashal Melech, it's comparable, a parable to a king. Shemachal Mashkes Bono, who gave his son food and drink to eat. Umashkato, gets him all dressed up. Vitolakis Bitzavaro, puts a purse on his neck. Umamino Bepesach Bezonos, places his son on the entranceway to the Bez Zonos. Mayase ben v'leachta, what shall the son do but sin? He's placed on the foot of the house of prostitution, bathed, clothed nicely, with money. Of course he's going to sin. That's what you've done, Hashem, because you gave them all of the gold, you gave them great wealth. Apparently what Rashi's saying is that on some level Moshe Rabbeinu was saying to Hashem, it was your fault. The Jewish nation left Mitzrayim with a tremendous amount of wealth, tremendous amount of riches, and it's those riches that caused them to do this sin, and therefore on some level, Hashem, you can't blame them. Besides, for the strategy of Moshe Rabbeinu talking to Hashem that way, there's a point that I think bears understanding over here. And that is, Moshe Rabbeinu is claiming that the Jewish nation were a ben mayasa ben v'leachta. It was almost to be expected that they were to do this sin because they had gold. Now, the problem is that they were in the Midbar. This is the generation that were living tremendous miracles. All they were involved in all day long was learning Torah, preparing themselves to reach the great level of the Jewish nation. There was no commerce, there was no buying, there was no selling. Granted, they left Mitzrayim with a tremendous amount of wealth. Granted, they had riches, but they were not involved with their riches. They were not involved in business. What they were doing in the Midbar was living on the highest spiritual plane. Yet apparently Moshe Rabbeinu was saying that just having wealth, just that reality of being wealthy, will lead a person, so likely will lead a person to extreme sin, that it's literally like placing a young man on the Pesach Beisazonos, giving him the almost impossible situation. Of course he's going to sin. And I believe what Rashi is teaching us is a very important yesod. And that yesod is that wealth is a tremendous, tremendous nisayon. Just the feeling of independence, I'm a rich man, I'm a wealthy man, automatically brings a person to a very, very frighteningly dangerous position. And that position is feeling independent. I need no one. I don't need my children, I don't need my wife, I don't need Hashem, because I'm rich, I'm independent, I'm wealthy, I need no one. That feeling is such a dangerous sense. That feeling can so easily lead a person to arrogance that Moshe Rabbeinu claims that's what led the Jewish nation to sin. Of course they're going to sin. Of course they're going to come to the worst type of sins. They're going to come to Avodah Zarah because they had such extreme wealth. And I think while all of us have this sort of cultural belief that wealth is great and wealth is something to pursue, the reality is that it comes with a very, very high price tag. And that high price tag is a sense of independence, a sense of arrogance. And I think there's a tremendous lesson to learn from here. And that is that not everything that looks so glittery and so beautiful is in fact that potent, is in fact that wonderful. And in fact there is a very real price to this. Much atzlacha.